I thought my life was perfect until one unexpected visit shattered everything I held dear. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had my world turned upside down when my sister-in-law, while discussing her new baby, casually dropped a huge bombshell. My wife cheated on me 6 years ago. She told me my wife had drunkenly slept with her best friend during a moment of weakness. I stood there, frozen, holding my son and trying to comprehend what she was saying. The realization hung in the air like a fog I couldn't shake off. In that moment, fear and doubt crept into my mind. I had been so happy, living as a devoted father and husband, and now this. Immediately after leaving my sister-in-law's house, I drove to get a paternity test for my son, dreading the possibility of the worst. A week later, when those results arrived, my heart sank. My son wasn't mine. It felt surreal. How could I look at him the same way again? Through the last several years, I saw him as my world. Yet now, everything felt wrong. I could hardly even look at him the same way anymore. He was no longer just my son. He felt more like an acquaintance, a stark reminder of what I had lost. That night, I confronted my wife while our son slept innocently in the other room. I didn't want to share this pain discovery in a toxic way, but I needed answers. When I asked her about the truth, she glossed over it, focusing on who had spilled the beans. I understood the sister connection, but I refused to play her guilt game. With the ugly truth hanging heavily in the air, I demanded a divorce. My wife claimed to be devastated, swearing she had been faithful ever since. Each heartfelt plea fell on deaf ears because I didn't believe her. I held back from shouting every insult that flooded my mind, knowing I had to keep a clear head for the lawyers. Amid the chaos, she threatened me with full custody of our child. Furious, I snapped, "Fine. I want nothing to do with something that isn't mine." I immediately regretted speaking like that at first, but deep down, it felt liberating to stand firm. Chaos ensued after that. My wife took the child and left for her parents' house, her devastation palpable. I hadn't raised my voice like that before, not even once, and seeing her that way put things into perspective. I'd never been more pissed off and hurt in my life. Since the ordeal, absolute silence filled my home. My wife was gone, and I understood now I had to protect myself and my mental well-being. I confided in my parents about the fallout, relieved to hear my dad support my decision, insisting, "You did the right thing, son." Although I felt justified, pain still gnawed at me from the inside. My little brother encouraged me to express my feelings, suggesting I write it down or share it, leading me to bring my story to Reddit. I started therapy 3 times a week, and my therapist praised the steps I was taking toward healing, stressing that moving on involves accepting what I can't change. My sister-in-law reached out afterward to comfort me, hinting that guilt drove her to confess. She could no longer see me happy with a child who wasn't biologically mine. I was unsure about her motives, but it did help to know the truth had sufficiently broken even her. As I sit here processing everything, I feel a deep resentment for my wife and conflicting emotions about the child I once raised. My focus now needs to be solely on healing, and the advice I've received emphasizes that pushing this burden away will help. I just hope for a smooth divorce process, with separate finances and properties in the mix. There shouldn't be much left to fight over. If she does request child support, my lawyer assured me that my proof would be plenty against her claims. For now, I'm committed to concentrating on myself and re-establishing the pieces of my life that once felt secure. This chapter is painful, but it's a time for growth and acceptance, hopefully one step at a time.